So we should be live. I'm just going to check on my page. It says we are live, so it should be. Sometimes the simplest bits of technology are a little bit of a challenge. There we go. Oh, Katie Ann Bellis, James Flanagan, Gitu Nanwani, and someone else is here already. Thank you for joining us. So we'll just while we're waiting for people to come in, I'm just going to share it to a few places. Come on, brain. All right, so I can share it there. Just bear with us. Right, that's done. So, thank you everyone who is joining us and who's watching. So anyone who's here on the live and anyone who will be watching on the replay. This is Love Speaks Love, and I'm your host, Denise. And my beautiful guest today is Jess Sawyer.
Hello.
Hi. So I've known Jess a long time. When were you in Australia? How long is it?
2010, let's say.
I had a feeling it was going to be 10 years. Yeah, so Jess is a yoga teacher. She is a Reiki master teacher. She puts on amazing women's circles and women's retreats. And recently she did, we'll talk a bit more about this in a sec, but just as a little introduction, she did a 21-day, almost like a sanctuary. And the name of that group is the Self-Love Sanctuary. So we're going to talk about that. I'm just going to check your bio. See what I've missed. Yeah, we'll talk about the ancient sacred sites that you've been to as well after you left Australia. That blew me away, your journey after leaving Oz. Oh, the pregnancy yoga as well. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just do a little visualization. So because this is Love Speaks Love, and it's a platform for people to speak from their heart, share of themselves, who they are, share their wisdom, their experiences. And my intention with this is really to get people into their heart space as well. That's kind of my dream, that more and more people on the planet are going to be in their heart space, working from their hearts, thinking from their hearts, making their decisions from their hearts. And this was part of that, really. So I usually start with a little visualization just for us to get into our heart space. So I invite us, if we're in a position to do so, to close our eyes. And take a few long and slow deep breaths, breathing into your heart space in the center of your chest. Breathing in love and breathing out love. And with your awareness in your heart space, feeling that place of love expanding. And sending love from our hearts to connect all of us here on the call, to connect my heart with Jess's, and connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia, to the heart of the sun, and to the heart of Source Creator. And visualizing a beautiful web of light now making its way around the globe. And going deep into the earth all the way to the diamond heart of Gaia. And connecting our hearts to the crystalline matrix, to the New Earth template. And as we continue to breathe in love and breathe out love, sending love to all hearts on the planet. And opening our eyes when we're ready. So Jess, it's really, really lovely to have you here. We've been talking about this for a little while. And it's a real honour to kind of introduce you to people as well. And I love the way through these connections that we're building a beautiful web of people as well around the globe, of people of like minds. And it's a real pleasure to introduce you to people that I know. I don't know where to start. So your awakening journey began in Byron Bay, Australia. And I remember, maybe you can talk about that. So did it begin with Reiki?
Oh.
Or had it already begun, would you say, before you were there?
Yes, a little bit before I went on my travels. So I went to Thailand and Borneo. So I went to the jungles of Borneo to work with orangutans, and that was a life dream for me. And I wasn't supposed to go to Australia. I was in Thailand and I met someone who said, oh, it's not far from Australia. And my bank balance, I literally had enough money to fly from Thailand to Australia and get a year visa. And I was left with $20 after that. But I decided to go. And anyway, universe came in and supported me, as it always does when you take that bold decision that's actually a life-affirming choice. And was really lucky, found a job the first day I got there. And managed to stay for a year. And definitely on that journey, I'd basically had a relationship that had broken up, which had triggered me going traveling, which had also triggered me reading a couple of self-help books. So that was the very flutterings of something changing, because before that I was completely agnostic. I didn't believe in anything, and my family is very much scientific minded, and we don't have religion in our family at all. So now I'm definitely the black sheep of the family for those beliefs. But
the rainbow sheep.
Yeah, the rainbow, that's nicer. And then on that journey in Australia, I just kept on hearing Reiki, Reiki, Reiki. And again, at the beginning, somebody said Reiki, gave me a little explanation in my head. I was like, whatever. And now I'm the one telling and teaching other people, no, this is real and it works and it's amazing and life-changing. So that kind of kept on happening. Every so often I'd meet somebody, and then I met you, and I think we had a treatment and we had a nice connection. And you were working where I was living in the Arts Factory, and then I ended up right at the end of my travels, deciding to go back to Byron Bay because it was my favourite place. And I didn't have the money to train with you, even though, it was hugely discounted. But anyway, and then right at the end, I'd saved that money because I knew. And I feel so grateful to you because I feel like you always saw me. And I was so different then, and I just can't, it's as if you knew and you saw me for who I was. And I don't think it was pushy or, massively encouraged me to do it, but you were just such an incremental, poignant part of that journey. So right at the end, I did my Reiki one with you, with Denise. And that was, very life-changing, as it always is. Every time you do a Reiki attunement, it changes a lot and clears a lot out, and just got me fully onto my path there. And then there was no going back. And I did come back to England and found things a bit difficult because I've been away for 18 months or so. So that was quite difficult to readjust and start a new way of living and a new life. But then from there, things have been a big journey again. But now I'm very, very different and very, very happy with the way things are.
I remember saying to you at the end of the attunement, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be teaching Reiki. And you were like, no
way.
Yeah, it was interesting. It did definitely drop in. So it was really, and I don't always remember these things because you're in that space at the time as well. But it's been a real pleasure to see how you've grown through this as well, and the journey that you went on after that to get you where you are now as well. So where did Peru fit into all this?
So I came back, I think it was 2010 when I came back, and I was found a job, and it was a nice job. I've always kind of worked in social sector or charity because I've always wanted to help and had this deep desire to do, make a difference in the world. And so I was doing a job like that, but I was living in where I'm from, which is quite a small town in the northwest of England. And it's lovely. It's a lovely place to grow up, but it's quite like closed-minded, really, or it's not coming from somewhere like Byron Bay anyway, which is hippie central, and you can do and be whoever you want and say whatever you want, and it's anything goes there. So it's like the complete opposite of that. So I was feeling a little bit, penned in maybe, and I'd already done my Reiki 2 as well with somebody. So then there was another huge awakening shift, whatever you want to call it. And then I just remember being sat at my desk in work, and I was like, it's 2012 next year. I need to be in Peru. I need to go to Machu Picchu. And it was a pull, like I'd never felt. It was like, you don't have a choice, you're coming here. And I had always wanted to go to Machu Picchu anyway, but it's just, that was the time. And then at the same time, I'd heard of something called the Rainbow Gatherings, actually from near Byron Bay. There was a rainbow temple there, and that switched me onto this. If anyone hasn't heard of the Rainbow Gatherings or the movement, it's people who have gathered since the 60s, and they basically gather on a piece of land, usually in the wilderness, and they create a community for one moon cycle. And there's basically no rules apart from leave no trace and do no harm. And they create this community. It's like a pop-up community. And there's no money, no exchange. You can't buy a ticket. There's no security. But it's all people who are so open-hearted and are there for being in a unified, co-creative, loving space. So I'd heard about this, and then I was like, I wonder where the one in 2012 will be, the World Gathering. And I looked, and it was in Palenque, Mexico, which is the heart of the Mayan lands. And obviously for the end of the Mayan calendar, 2012, that's when they were holding the gathering. So again, in my heart, I was like, right, I'm going to be in Peru in January. I'm going to be in Mexico at the end in December. And somehow that's what happened. And everything in between was just a whirlwind and a journey. And yeah, just very much drawn to these sacred ancient sites and temples. And at the time, I didn't know why. I thought it was more just, oh, I'm a historian and I love history, which I do, but actually I don't really like going around the museums and reading all the things. It's more I want to see and feel the artifacts and touch them and actually absorb the energy. Yeah, so that's what I was doing, and just doing a lot of meditation in those places. And like I said, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'd be there absorbing the energies, usually like some incense, maybe put a few crystals in the ground. And it wasn't massive intention behind what I was doing at that point, to be honest. It was just more of a knowing that that was what I was doing. And then quite a lot of time went by before it really landed that I was gaining those codes. And then in the healing that I give, in the Reiki that I give, in the Reiki attunements that I give, I know that they're getting these ancient codes from the Maya or the Aztec or wherever the places that I've been. And I think that's how that feels to me, how it works with energetic sacred sites and ley lines and things.
Yeah, I really hear that. Yeah, it's really interesting what you say, because obviously you've got source energy coming through and you've got earth energy coming up. But the keys that you pick up on the way, the keys and the codes become part of the fabric of your energy. And because the source energy is coming through you, it mixes with your energy as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So did you have any feelings that you'd had, like, was the connection like, I've been here before as well when you were there?
For the Mayan lands, I'd say, well, for Peru as well, yeah. So for Peru, obviously, it's just such a special place. The Sacred Valley, anyway, for me was where I felt really a heart opening and awakening, and that's where I ended up doing my Reiki Masters in Cusco in the Sacred Valley.
Wow.
As well as my yoga teacher training at the same time. So I did both of them within about 3 weeks. I did both of these, and they both came to me very synchronistically as well. It wasn't the plan of that trip to do either of those things. It just, that's what happened. And obviously with the Reiki Masters teacher level, which is the final piece of the Reiki puzzle, there was another awakening and another evolvement, which, you know, does come with a lot of mess. It's not, it's things clearing out and things that need to be looked at and worked through. So yeah, there's always that side of it. But yeah, and in Mexico and Guatemala, I was in for 5 months, and that's just, yeah, it's just very deep in my heart, that place. And I can't say if I feel I've been there before. I don't know. I think my soul feels like, you know, that oneness, and we're of the earth, you know, so there's certain places where I'm like, wow, this is, yeah, it feels so at home. But I'm not sure on a past life way.
Was it a particular kind of yoga that you did there?
Yeah, so it was Ashtanga yoga with Anusara principles, and Ashtanga is quite a tough version of yoga. But I don't teach that, and never have really. It's yeah, I think with any yoga teaching, unless you're very, very strict with the style that you're taught in, and even if you are, it's coming through you like anything. So it's got a flavor or an essence of you. And for me, my intention behind any kind of healing or class or whatever that I offer is that the person finds their center. So just exactly what you said at the start, my dream is that people are in their hearts and feel that heart space and yeah, so that's my intention, is to get them into here and just find some peace there, and whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental release, whatever they need, but that we can move more inward.
And the pregnancy yoga?
Yeah, so in the past 3 years I've become a mum twice, so that's just another part of my journey. So yeah, I met beautiful man, and we had a very whirlwind romance, and then found out we were pregnant. And so just through that pregnancy journey, and obviously being on the spiritual path, or conscious, or whatever you want to call it, so it's like a different like a conscious pregnancy and a conscious birth and a conscious motherhood that I'm looking to do. And by no means do I think I've nailed it, because I think it's a lifetime journey, but there's still not that much around for that. It's still, there's all as spirituality is so much more in the fore. And like when we met, the change within those 10 years is insane. And how you can say Reiki now and everyone knows what that is, and there's NHS jobs for Reiki and things. But yeah, it's still like, or especially where I am in Liverpool, it's still quite an unknown thing to be really honouring and acknowledging the pure magic and mystery that is being pregnant, and holding life in you in that way, and really reveling in it, so, and revering it. So in my pregnancy yoga, I haven't fully gone into that as much as I'd love to. What I tend to do is we just do a bit of movement, a bit of stretching, some breath work, and then during the shavasana or the relaxation, I just try and use the Reiki, or use the energies coming through me to kind of give them a bit of an activation, or a bit of a attunement, I guess, into that feeling of being so deeply connected with that being, which they already are, but yeah, just maybe on an extra layer or level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're taking that, like pregnancy yoga could just be, linked to the positions that you do, strengthening your body in ways that it needs, relating to holding the baby inside you. But I love that you're bringing in so much more to that as well.
Yeah, and it's so necessary, because still in these days it's just crazy when you start going down. It's like another rabbit hole, isn't it? But the fact that when you read statistics, like there's about a third of women have C-sections, so many women get induced and have traumatic births and things, which it's not talked about. It's like you have your baby, you go home, and then you run that whole crazy journey of being a mum, and you just have to forget about what's happened. So I kind of want to facilitate that in some way in the future as well, of how we can talk about it, and the mental health behind the mums, and how important it is to look after ourselves as mums. I mean, it is for everyone, and that's, we'll talk about that later. That's the self-love sanctuary that I've started. But for me, being a mum, it's even more important, because I can't look after my kids if I'm not looking after me. I just can't. And I might be, but the level of love that I'm giving them, or the level of attention and care that I'm giving them, is like 1,000-fold more refined. And yeah, just when you're giving from that full cup, right? There's no resentment, there's no bitterness. It's just overflows from you, because I've given to me first, or tried to, and it's not easy, and it doesn't happen every day. And I'm so lucky that I've got such a supportive partner. So I know a lot of women maybe don't have that. So yeah, they're all little tools and techniques that I want to bring to people, and I'd love to start start a bit of a movement or get onto other movements that are happening around pregnancy and birth and motherhood, and how we can get back to how it was a bit more, the midwifery and the more natural solutions and techniques and birthing as well, just more natural birth.
Was your second birthing, was that a water birth?
Yeah, so I was really lucky. My first birth was the opposite, although it was a planned home birth, natural. It was the opposite, and I had every intervention going, was in hospital, and then ended up with an emergency C-section and was very traumatic. And, you know, when I talk about that, I always defend it in a way of how grateful I am for the NHS, how grateful I am for those doctors, and how grateful I am for the medication and all of that amazing medical advancement that we have. But there is an element of, you know, people always say to you after a traumatic birth, well, at least you and the baby are okay. And it's so true, and that is first and foremost, but it's as if they say that and then it's like, oh, well, nothing else matters that's happened. But trauma is trauma, you know, and it stays and sticks in your body. Yeah. So it needs to be released. So talking about it obviously helps. So yeah, I had this complete contrast. So I had this crazy birth with Kai, my son, and then a year and a half later I had Zena, my daughter, and she was born here. In the front room, in the water, and it was completely natural and was absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I find that quite interesting as well, because I do want to work with mums and pregnancy and things, so to have had such contrasting births as well. Feel like I've got a wider understanding.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I'm just remembering back to when I did my nurse training, because we do, you know, we did some midwifery within that. And back then, if you'd had a C-section before, you would have a C-section next time. Like it wasn't even an option to have a natural birth after that, because of the fears of I think it was about the incision site as well, that could either rupture or something along those lines. So you weren't really given an option. So I really love that that's changed. And it's maybe it's I don't know. Did you kind of have to fight a little bit for that, or was it? How did that kind of work out for you?
It's where we are in Liverpool in the northwest. We had an incredible service called One-to-One Midwives that was actually NHS funded, but it wasn't the NHS. And it was a woman who was a midwife for years, and she decided she'd had enough of there being not enough midwives and just everything she saw in the hospitals over years. So she started this company. And anyway, so I was under those for both of my births. I was so lucky. And with them, it's very different. So I don't know if I'd been more in the mainstream, going to my doctors and telling them I'm pregnant, whether they'd have said, oh, well, that's not possible, or it might not be the best thing. Whereas these one-to-one midwives, they're all about home birth. They're not, but you know, it's mostly about home birth and women who want to naturally birth and be in a more holistic space with it all. So they just encouraged it, and they said you can go and see someone, a doctor, and find out what their medical opinion is. And I said, well, will they tell me, maybe discourage it? And they said it depends on who you get on the day. And I just thought, wow, you know, so many women will have done that in their lives, put their babies and their lives in you know, somebody's opinion, where, you know, whereas we know what we want and we know what feels best for us. And it's so anyway, I said, oh, I don't need to see a doctor, and just really trusted it the second time, and was like, this is going to happen. But now this service has been taken away. It wasn't funded, and it's really sad. It just got pulled very quickly. But for me anyway, I was super lucky.
And with like pain control when you have a water birth at home, how does that work? Because I guess the options aren't aren't the same as if you're in a hospital.
No, so it's just gas and air.
Yeah.
Which I got through a long period without having it, and then I was like, yeah, go on, give me some of that. And then I felt sick actually, and was like, is that it? Is that all you've got? And I remember vividly saying, come on. And I at that point got it and was like, if I was in hospital right now, 100% I'd be having everything, whatever they could. Well, I can't say that, but yeah. It didn't really help me. I felt, just made me feel a bit nauseous and dizzy.
Interesting. Okay, so moving on to the work that you do with other women. So I have experienced one of your retreats, which was amazing. Talk us through what you kind of offer in retreats and, you know, say the process, because I know there's a lot of ceremony to it. I know you've drawn from all the places that you've been and learned from in what you offer. So talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so my retreats that I do are, first of all, at a beautiful place called Caima Bon, which is in Snowdonia in North Wales, and it's an eco retreat, and it's like a hobbit village, so it's all cob houses. And I was just so taken with this place when I went that that's kind of the only place that I run them at the moment, because I can't think of anywhere more beautiful. So the energy in that space, and Denise very much knows because she worked with lots of the land when she was there, and it's just very magical. There's mountains, there's waterfalls, there's a river, there's a huge lake, there's everything there, you know, big woodlands. So it's got everything you could want. And for me, I work with the earth, you know, so everything I do, I take from the earth, in terms of, that's where my inspiration comes from. That is my spirituality, and that is my religion, is the earth and mother earth, nature. So I have to feel I've got that support, and that's kind of obviously going to be this reciprocal giving and receiving. So the first thing I'll do is give to the earth and give to the land there, and make sure that we have permission to do that work in the first place. And then, yeah, we do like a beautiful introduction to each other, and we work with something called the grandmother's wisdom, which is a movement where a woman in America called Sharon McFarlane, she channels the grandmothers, 13 Indigenous grandmothers, and yeah, there's some beautiful work around that I do. And so we call in the grandmothers, and it's like the angels. So when you get inducted, I want to say, which is probably not the right word, attuned to the grandmother's energy, then you can call on them just like you would your angels as many times a day, and they're there for support. So we usually do that, and then yoga and meditation and various little kind of workshops that are more drop in, drop out, and go and explore the nature. And then we always do a couple of ceremonies as well. And I work a lot with cacao, and I've done ceremonies for 7 years with cacao now. And plant medicines are a huge part of my journey as well. And obviously cacao is legal still, so we can legally use cacao to help open our hearts and meditate a bit deeper, go in a bit deeper. So yeah, we use sound journeys and various shamanic tools and techniques to kind of really delve in. And it's very much, for me, the work that I do with women, it's a very kind of softly held space, in terms of I feel, and feedback I've had is very nourishing and safe. Yeah. But at the same time, through that container, we're able to go quite deep and explore more of, you know, the sacred rage, or that darker side of the feminine that's been so repressed.
Yeah, and I completely vouch for that. Like, it is it's very gently held. And I think people might not always be aware of just how much work is going on, because a lot of it is kind of going on beneath the surface as well. But it is really, really deep work that you do there, and very, very honouring as well. And you hold space really beautifully. Which brings me to, and I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to talk about this. So you recently did a 21-day, I'll let you talk about it, a 21-day where you are offering something every day within this container, which is the Self-Love Sanctuary. So how was that for you? Having done a 21-day, when I did light language every day for 21 days, it was quite an interesting process to kind of go through. Quite a bit of resistance in the beginning to it. But I really enjoyed doing it, and I got a lot out of it as well. So yeah, share whatever you would like to about your 21 days and what has evolved from that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess when lockdown happened, like many, probably anyone who's watching this, who's a light worker or has done quite a lot of healing work, wasn't shocked so much. And especially for me, with being in Mexico in 2012, and the ceremonies we were doing with Indigenous people around fires and shamans, and it's like opening portals and crazy stuff. So for me, I was like, oh, it came, straight after that, I was like, when's the world shift? When's the change happening? I've been waiting and waiting. So it wasn't a big shock. But then there was a part of me was like, oh, I really feel I can help here. I really want to offer something. But it didn't come to me straight away. And I work very strongly with the moon cycles and the menstrual cycle, and I teach about that as well. So it was coming up to that. So I thought, I'm not going to do anything right now. I need to just go in and just rest and do some healing and find out what's going on for me. So that's what I did. And then it just came very strong, 21-day reset journey. That's what it was called. And I'd actually had it as an idea for an online course, which it will be as well. I'm kind of developing that now. But yeah, I kind of already had those ideas. So I just thought I'll put it out. And again, like you said, it could have been a challenge, but because I did it, and so there's 3 weeks obviously of more energy and more hormones that create energy before the final week, which is the bleed. So I had 3 weeks of feeling quite fine doing that, and it really wasn't a chore to share every day. It was sometimes the night before it'd come to me, or most of the times in the morning would be just drop in, this is what you're doing. So just felt so aligned and connected to my guidance and to source, which was beautiful. And yeah, I just did little daily meditations or yoga or affirmations or EFT tapping, or did some Eden energy medicine, which I love. There's lots of things that I've learned on my journey that help me. So it's little tools and techniques that you can take away, and obviously some resonate and some don't, but got a really, really good feedback. And yeah, people really enjoyed it. And then that's, like you said, it's evolved into the Self-Love Sanctuary now, which is a Facebook page. If anyone wants to join, you're welcome. And from that, there's then the Self-Love Sanctuary monthly subscription, which at the moment is only £11, but it will be going up. And it's within that price, you get a yoga class and a relaxation session, which are live and recorded as well, and a monthly circle around new moon. And it is women so far, but men are welcome to join. But it is probably a bit more aligned to women in terms of the self-love journey, and because that's where I am very in my heart when I work with women in that way, but men would be absolutely welcomed as well, because we all need this self-love. And I work a lot with the divine union, you know, the divine masculine, divine feminine, and trying to balance and harmonize those within us. So yeah, any men out there that fancy it, you're welcome. And yeah, there's a private Facebook group, and also set up a beautiful crystal grid, and just beam as much love into that as I can, so the participants receive quite a lot of distance healing throughout the time with me as well.
Awesome. And you're based in the Liverpool area, and obviously not at the moment, but you're normally putting on yoga classes as well.
Yeah. So yeah, and I teach in a beautiful palm house in a park, which is my favourite thing, but at the moment we can't do that, so I'm doing more online classes. But I feel, and you know, you've known this for a long time, what I've been shown through this lockdown and the online connection, it's obviously different. And when you can be there and sit in circle and physically touch and hug, it's beautiful. But there's a few ceremonies that I've done online that have been so potent, and actually being able to connect distantly with all these people, knowing that you're all doing and creating these larger grids. Yeah, something really, yeah, very new to me with that, but it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's really powerful, and I find it very interesting that that a lot of people who've had this seed of something of you know, one day I'll do more work online, and then suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I'm doing that now. And it's on so many levels. As you say, it brings a lot of us together from all over the world. It also increases the number of people that you're able to get in touch with as well. You know, we live in a place, and the catchment area from that is relatively small, really. Whereas this way, you know, you can introduce so many people from all over the world to what you're doing as well. So it works on so many levels. Do you have a YouTube as well?
Yeah, so my business at the moment is Conscious Calling. I say at the moment because we've been going through this transition, but yeah, Conscious Calling, if you go on YouTube and type that in, and I've got quite a lot of videos and meditations and free stuff there.
And you do a lot of group work and one-on-one stuff as well. Like, do you want to share more details about what you offer?
Yeah. So there's obviously the self-love sanctuary, and there's weekly yoga classes that you can join, and then one-on-one, so one-on-one online at the moment. And it's like a lot of healers who kind of at the moment are offering things. It's very intuitive, so I'd bring in different elements of what I do, but I couldn't say this is what you'll get, because it's going to be guided by spirit, so just have to go with that. But it would be a mixture of Reiki and Sekhem. So Sekhem's like the ancient Egyptian Reiki that I do, and sound healing, and I've got crystal bowls that resonate with different chakras, and obviously crystalline frequencies, and EFT just to clear things, which is a beautiful tool to use to release. If people don't know, then just find out about that, because it's such a great thing to learn. So yeah, and then sound journeying, drum journeys, I do card readings, so it's little elements of all of that, but it's very much around finding your soul purpose and clearing what needs to go to really get aligned into that heart space and know that's what you want, and go for it, along with feeling comfortable with your heart and accepting what's there, and finding out any blockages, and hopefully we can work through those as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on at the moment, and I'll be doing Reiki attunements online as well, especially during this time. So if anyone wants that, then that's available too.
And how can people get hold of you? What's the easiest way?
Yeah, so there's my Facebook page, Conscious Calling. That's probably the best, or my website, which is consciouscalling.com.
It might be helpful at the end of this if you put those, all your things in the comments as well, and then it's there. That'll be amazing. So shadow work, I'm assuming, because for me, when I became a Reiki master, one of the things that I was taught by mine was about shadow work. And she explained to me that as a master, you're becoming whole. And in order to become whole, we have to look at those areas of ourselves that might be described as our shadow, in order to love that. And so really just bring that into our hearts to bring wholeness to ourselves. How has your shadow work kind of like, how do you do your shadow work? Is it as and when things crop up for you, or is it something that you actually go into with that intention? And also, I'm guessing that your significant other as well, being in a conscious relationship, that can also bring up a lot of shadow stuff for you. Is there anything that you want to share about any or all of those?
Yeah, I love that. I love that with the Reiki masters, because it's like there's no hiding anymore. Everything comes up, and for me it was like that final level of Reiki that I did, where it was just everything was right there to be seen and looked at, but with the tools of being able to connect so deeply and so fully, so just feeling held and safe to do that work, which was really beautiful for me. And I'd say it's a mixture of working with what comes up, along with just through awareness, through having meditation practice, and through my practices, you generally become more aware of things anyway. So then I'd probably just note down, oh yeah, that niggled me today, or that didn't feel good, or that really hurt when he said that, or triggered something and it felt like a wound, and always from childhood, as we know. So yeah, and then I'd probably just write it down and go into that in my own time. Although I am a bit of a searcher, and I'm so thirsty for knowledge, and once I got onto this path, I've never stopped. It's like always a new course, or someone else to work with, or a new guide, or a new technique or tool. There's always something that is just kind of lights my fire. So I'm always exploring things. And like I mentioned briefly, my plant medicine journey. So, I was lucky enough to be drinking ayahuasca in the Amazon, and that was in 2012. And that was a huge part of my awakening. And I do work with plant medicines, and they, again, with the shadow, there's no, it's just right there. You have to see it and deal with it and love it and accept it and acknowledge it and find out where it's come, and hopefully be able to soothe that part of you which needs the love, which is all it is. And that's why for me the self-love journey is the journey, because everything else is just little parts of you that haven't been loved, and so we just bring them back and allow them to feel that love. And if they feel rage or pain or whatever they feel, just to accept that and love it more.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I 100% concur with what you've said there, and it's all of this is showing those parts of ourselves that we're not loving, that are just really wanting that love. So yeah, I love what you said there. Now, would you want to offer anything as a close? Would you want to do a visualization or anything? I don't know. We haven't talked about this. Putting you on the spot.
But I'm always up for this. This is my favourite thing to do. So yeah, let's just get into a comfortable space, have a little wriggle, a little stretch. Any releasing noises that might want to come out. Maybe just shaking the hands and the arms a little bit and just moving the energy. And then if it feels comfortable to do so, just closing down the eyes softly. We'll take a few deep breaths together in your own time, breathing deep, deep, deep down to the base of the abdomen, in through the nose and softly out the mouth, maybe like a big sigh. Let's do 2 more. And just allow your breath to come back to its normal, effortless, easy rhythm. Finding a straight spine for you, even asking for guidance with that posture right now. And just reconnect like we did at the start. So from the crown of the head, right up through the center of the sun, all the way up to the heart of Source. Source light beaming down over through you, around you, filling you up, every part of your body, every part of your bubble, auric field. Breathing that in as much as you need, as much as you want. And as that light comes in, anything that feels heavy, dense, old, stagnant, ready to be released, just drops effortlessly to the base of the spine, effortlessly to the soles of the feet. And with our loving intention and so much gratitude, we ground some roots deep, deep down into the heart of Gaia. Taking another breath, another sigh as we release there, letting go anything we're able to in this moment. Offering with love and gratitude, becoming softer and lighter in all ways. Taking another breath, and if it feels right to do so, as an exchange for your offering, you might start to invite the energy from the earth to flow back up through your roots, knowing this is unconditional love in its purest form. Breathing that deep, 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 deep into the back of your heart, into the back of those chambers at the heart, filling up your heart space. As we allow the energies from above and below to mix and to meld, light and love, creating a sign of infinity from your heart all the way up to Source, flowing back down, looping through your heart and down into the earth's heart and back up into your heart. Just feeling that harmonic resonance, that vibration of pure peace and balance there. And inviting you to place your hands one on top of the other on top of the heart center. And just taking a couple of breaths, breathing that healing, soothing energy from yourself into your heart. Just really loving yourself here. Taking a nice deep breath. And when you feel ready, just drop in the hands and just floating the eyes back open in a nice soft way when you feel ready.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was quite deep there. It's amazing how even, you know, the simplest of things can put you in that really deep space. That was really beautiful. Thank you. I really love the figure of 8 as well. Don't always think about doing it that way. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Just my gratitude for you, Denise, my beautiful teacher, and yeah, how just like you've witnessed me, I've witnessed you, and everything that you've done and you are doing, all the light that you're shining and beautiful codes that you're sharing with so much grace. And yeah, you're just a real inspiration to me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I will accept that. I will receive that. Thank you. And yeah, an absolute pleasure to have watched you grow as well. Like it's a far cry for both of us, really, from 10 years ago. Where will we be in 10 years' time? So thank you to everybody. There's some lovely feedback for the visualization. Thank you to everyone who has been present with us on the call. Thank you to everyone who will watch this on the replay or on YouTube. And yeah, reach out to Jess. She is an amazing being. And at some point, we will also have her partner, Tom, on as well. Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
I love you very much.
Love you. Thanks, Denise.
So I'm going to stop the live. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.